What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about why is it so hard to find a good body shop. Now, for the last few weeks, I've gotten tons of messages of people asking me, Lucky, what's going on with the Mercedes 6x6? Why isn't it done? Can we get an update video? Is it going to be at SEMA? And unfortunately, that's what brings us to the topic of today's video. I've waited over 4.5 months to even get somebody to start on the car. It's been absolutely ridiculous, and I want to share this with you guys. On top of that, we're actually going to go out into the wild and we're going to meet my friend Mike that owns a body shop and talk a little about what's currently going on in the market. But back to the 6x6, basically what happened was my paint guy, I try to do everything in-house because I hate doing work on the outside because you have to rely on other people. So I decided to get my own paint guy, which he's been doing work for me for years. Unfortunately, he wound up having some medical issues and wasn't able to start the project, which was fine. So we lost about 2 weeks, no big deal. We decided to go with another guy. He said he's going to come to the shop. He's going to fix everything. We were going to film him. It was going to be a great thing. He wanted to start his own YouTube channel, teaching people how to do body work. The guy never showed up. He showed up like maybe 3 times, asked about stuff, talked about YouTube, but then never actually started on the car. The second guy basically was a referral. They have a shop here in town, lots of great reviews, beautiful body shop. You know, everything seemed like an up and up. He said, I can knock this thing out in 30 days, guaranteed. Said, perfect. I was like, I'll come in 2 weeks and check it out. Dropped the car off. Came back 2 weeks later, didn't even touch the car. So I said, you know, what's going on? He assured me that they're going to start on it. No big deal. Okay, no big deal. I'll come back later. A week goes by. I come back again. Car wasn't even touched. So I told him if it's not touched by next week, I'm just going to tow it out of there. And sure enough, they didn't even start on it. So I towed it back. He was so worried that I was going to blast him on social media. I told him, no, just don't waste people's times. I winded up losing a couple $100 in towing and a whole month of basically waiting for my car to get done. Now we get to the third guy. The third guy, once again, said that he was going to knock it out of the park. He's going to show up to my shop every day and stay on the car till it gets done. Okay, cool, no problem. You know, gave him a deposit. Guy showed up maybe once, looked at the car, did some measurements, ordered some materials, brought it back to the shop, and just kept telling me next week, next week, next week. Got tired of him, and so I decided to go to my last friend, which was Mike. I've known him for quite a few years on social media. He has a body shop, does a lot of insurance work, doesn't really do work for regular people. So I hit up my friend Mike and said, hey, can you help me out with this 6x6? I've had multiple issues with multiple paint and body guys, and he said yes. And so now, as of 2 weeks ago, it's been at his shop, and there's been quite a bit of progress since then, which I'll show in the next video coming up. But I want to walk you to his shop and actually show you what it's like to own a body shop, what he's currently facing, and some of the things you need to look out for. All right, we just got here to Exclusive Customs. Let's see if we could find Mike. Let's walk over this way. So owning a shop obviously is not that easy. There's lots of work and prep that goes into it. You can see they got tons of cars lined up here. So as we're walking down, you can see that if you own a body shop, you got to do a lot more than just paint and body. You have to do mechanical, electrical, HVAC, all kinds of crazy stuff. Sometimes when you fix RVs, you got to do fiberglass. So there's a lot more entailed than just being a body guy. So that's why it's so complicated. And that's why there's a lot of businesses that are struggling to find good quality people, because tradesmen are not as, I guess, prevalent as they used to be. A lot of people are not going to school to work with their hands. Everybody's taught that you got to work on computers and be a professional middleman. That's the way America is now. We don't build anything, we don't fix anything, we just throw shit away. And now we're paying the repercussions, because if you want to get a house built, it's going to take you forever and there's not enough people. You want to get your car fixed, you're going to wait a month or 2 just to get that done. You want your car to get painted or fixed like mine, you're waiting weeks, if not months, if the insurance company doesn't total out your car because they can't get the parts or the adequate time to actually fix and car and deliver it. All right, here's the 6x6. So it's finally in its final place. Next time we see it coming out of paint. So they have to basically fix all this, which is some of my horrible handiwork, but that's okay. They're going to make it look pretty. We got to make sure this fits so the fender flare works. You look over here, we're gonna have new running boards. They're actually gonna be gloss black, matching with the bar. We got some roof stuff here that we gotta fix up. If you open up here, we got the scoop that they're gonna be sticking on the hood. And then we got the roof spoiler that's also gotta be epoxied on as well. Front fender flares, and then the grill is gonna be gloss black as well. So gloss black, and then the bar itself is gonna be gloss black. Now, I was told it's going to take about 30 days, which is October 18th. So hopefully we'll be able to get this thing cleaned up just enough to make SEMA. So it's going to be very, very close. But you can see it needs a lot of work. But they got a lot of really cool restoration projects they got going on. So This is basically the next one in line, so they're gonna go ahead and jump on this one today. But I'm super excited. I can't wait to drive this thing around the streets of Vegas because I'm currently making payments on this thing right now and it's just sitting here. But I'll go over more on that later. Right now, we're gonna head back into the shop and we're actually gonna talk to Mike about what it's like to own a body shop. So we just saw the G-Wagon. Unfortunately, Mike's on the other side of the building, so we're gonna start walking down. But I wanna talk a little bit about, shortage of people actually fixing cars. Now, all the good body guys are usually winding up opening up their own companies. They're doing it themselves because they can make more money. The downfall is it takes them more time because they're not a shop. They're not set up for volume. They're not set up with the processes to push cars out really quickly. That's the thing about shops. It's all about volume. And so even though the painters and body guys are making more money doing it from their home, they're taking much longer to do the same job that a body shop would. So there's the caveat. People are leaving the shops to make more money, but it's taking them longer to fix it, which leaves shops with less people. So now it takes them longer to fix the cars because they don't have enough qualified personnel. And it's this self-fulfilling cycle that keeps coming over and over again of a shortage of mechanics, body guys, and everything else. So we're just running the mic now. We'll go sit down somewhere and do an interview. So I was just telling my subscribers that how overly complicated it is to own a shop, especially nowadays. How long have you owned Exclusive Customs for?
I think about 15 years now.
15 years? Yeah. Like we've been friends on social media for quite some time and you were working on exotics, highlines, doing stuff like that. And I feel bad. I should have reached out to him earlier, but I didn't. I was, I got so used to doing everything in-house. It's like, I'm going to do it myself. And it just kind of bit me in the ass. So I told them the story of what happened. But as a business owner, what do you think is your hardest, I guess, or some of your biggest issue in 2024?
God, here in Vegas, I would say everybody from California coming down and just messing up, the whole deductible thing. Now people want to get, besides helping them with the deductibles, people actually want to get a kickback, which has never ever happened in Vegas, and now all of a sudden, people expect it because.
Yeah, that's something else. If you guys not watching, like in Texas, there's ads. We give you your deductible back, and they don't understand. Here in Vegas, it's actually illegal. We can't give you your money back. It's bad. And then on top of that, if we fix your car, we have to charge you. And like there's free loaners and stuff, which I wound up doing in my body shop, but it was a nightmare. They just crashed them and they wouldn't get my cars. But I know the big thing we were talking about was costs. Like how much have your costs increased in the last 5 years?
Not even in the last 5 years. Geez, I mean, the last 3 years, rent doubled, like literally doubled, materials tripled. Everything has gone up. Employees, want to raise. Everything has gone up. Not only has everything gone up, but productivity has gone down, and everybody wants to pay less, but everything goes up.
Back in the day, people thought that we made all this money off insurance companies because they used to just write us a blank check. What do you tell people, like, if you want to explain to them watching, how does insurance work actually work, like when they show up due to an estimate?
That is the biggest that is the biggest misconception. Everybody comes in and says, "Oh, charge insurance companies what you want." They always tell you that, take them for whatever you can. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. As insurance companies dictate to you what they're going to pay. They tell you what parts to put. What labor they're going to pay for. They dictate to you what they're what you need to do. So pretty much you work for them. Yeah. So it doesn't. You can't just charge them whatever you want. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I used to hate it when we get these guys. They'd wreck like their Rolls Royce with a custom body kit, and like, oh, the kit's $100,000 and this, and it's going to take all this body work, and I want all this time. And then the insurance company comes in. Yeah, we're going to give you 12 hours and $1,500 for this cheap Chinese body kit. Good luck. And then you got to deal with the customers trying to deal with that stuff.
And they don't even want to pay you the exotic rate. They want to pay you $45 an hour. Tobin charges you fucking $350 an hour.
Yeah, I know. I stopped doing a lot of the exotic work actually for Tobin for that reason, because like everyone's like, oh, I want the fit and finish to be perfect. Okay, well you have to pay that guy that extra time to mask your whole car, to wear kid gloves, to make sure everything matches up to that very high standard. But they don't. They want you to fix it for the same price as you're fixing Kias for. Yeah. But they want it twice as fast and they want it twice as good. What have you noticed, especially with personnel, like trying to hire people? Is it getting harder for you, or are you feeling like the slowdown, or is it much harder to get, I guess, quality people?
It's always been very, very hard to find quality people, especially in this business. People that are, very good workers, quality workers. They know what they have, and they go to wherever they get paid the most. And the really good ones, they always want to start their their own business. So it's hard to find quality people, and it gets harder and harder as time goes by.
Yeah, we made a joke offline that everybody wants to do that. First, the body guys do the work at their house, and they're like, oh, I'm making all this money, but it takes them twice as long, where shops are set up for production. And then they decide to open up a shop like us, and then they realize how expensive it is, and they want to go back the other way because they wind up losing money. Like, there's a lot of months where, and I'm sure you can test this, where we'll make good money, but there's a lot of months where we lose money. Well, we made a joke earlier about being jaded, because when I came over here, he walked me through the car like what I used to do. What are you expecting? What do you want? Like, is it going to look like this? Now, I want the car to look good, but it's not going to be perfect because we are going to take it off road, and I am going to scratch it, so I'm not that much of a nitpicker. But the fact that you did that lets me know that you dealt with the exact same customers that I did. They're like, they don't want to pay anything, but they wanted the car so pristine and so perfect that you had that feeling like you have to say it 3 or 4 times. I used to get people to write it down, like, are you sure? Like, you don't want a showroom job, you want this type of job? And then you do it, and all they want to do is cry at the end when you pick it up.
Well, that's the craziest thing. The craziest thing is, like, even after you tell it to them and you remind them of it, they still, at the very end, act like you never told them from the beginning. So that was actually a good thing that you got them to write it down.
Yeah, no, I laughed when you did that one. It just kind of reminded me of why I just don't want to deal with people, because even like through my channel, people are like, oh, can you build a car for me? Or can you do this? Can you sell me a car? No. I mean, I love the business, and some people I do love, but dealing with everybody, for every, I guess, one bad body shop or dealership or rental car company, there's thousands of bad customers. Yeah. And this is the other part where we try to be transparent on the channel, where we talk about, there are a lot of bad shops that will spend your money, put subpar parts on it. But have you ever had the issue where, like, I've had it a few times where the customer gets the check and spends it, and then they're coming to you telling you got to get the money from the insurance company to try to take their car?
That happens all the time.
Yeah, I didn't realize how often it
The best one is when they tell you, oh, I thought insurance just sent it to me. Like, they were just expecting free money.
Yeah.
Insurance is just going to send you $4,000 just because you're you.
Yeah. I had one guy, $16,000, because we had to replace the whole rear clip of his Expedition, and he's like, well, I thought this was my cut, my accident money or something like that. And the best thing was, he tried to turn me in for fraud to State Farm, and they're like, well, we have a copy of you signing the check. I'm like, let me see the signature. And they showed me the signature, and I sent him a copy of my ID. I was like, this is my signature. That's nothing. So they sent him a check with my name on it, and somehow the bank released the funds to him, and he spent it, and he threatened me with calling Channel 8 News and attorneys, like, I want to get my car back. You have to give it back to me. And at the very end, the insurance company told him that we're not going to pay. And I had to call his bank, basically tell him that if he doesn't pay me the $16,000, we're going to hold his car. And at the very end, he wound up paying, like, almost 3 months later. Didn't charge him storage, but it took him some time. But it was a nightmare.
Storage.
I know. That's why I'm telling you. Every time we try to help somebody, we have this car. I don't know if you have it, but I have this saying in the car business: no good deed goes unpunished.
It's always the people you try to help out the most that will end up screwing you over at the end. It's always those people.
Yeah.
But I mean, you were actually nice, bro. Like, after 30 days, you could have put a mechanics lien on it and kept the car.
100%.
So you were actually super nice.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think people don't see, is like how they take our money, they spend it, or like even that, like, I've had guys commit fraud where they'll bring me a different car trying to fix it, or I had one where they brought the car wrecked, but it was different tones of paint, and then I realized they took body parts from a wrecked one they got in the junkyard, said it was an accident, but they wanted me to, like, give them a cut back, like a check back, and they'd pay me only whatever, $1,000 for taking the car apart. I mean, scams and scams. That's part of the body industry.
They're getting ridiculous. They're getting ridiculous nowadays.
Yeah, and especially now, like you said, costs are going up. You're not making the same amount of money. The adjusters are pretty much taking all the money away. And then on top of that, this is something else that I don't know if you knew. They were saying that somewhere around 62% of cars now are getting totaled out. Yeah. Like, we don't even have the opportunity to fix them because they're too, like, especially like EVs. Like, the Tesla I bought for my SEMA project, it has a bump in the front end. They totaled it out. Runs fine, 20 or 16,000 miles.
Insurance companies, after COVID, insurance companies have gone to shit.
Yeah.
All the insurance companies, we've gone to shit. Progressive used to be one of the better ones. Now they're the fucking worst one. Yeah. And, and they rather total out a car because in their eyes, they don't want to keep paying for the rental car, and, they make, not more money, but they're going to pay out less money by auctioning it off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was kind of funny because we talked about, like, how the market was going to change, because once they started doing this, people were happy, like, oh, well, I don't want to wait for parts for my car and everything else, but I had a feeling this would continue over after COVID. Like, now, like, we can get the parts to fix your car, but if they don't give us a check to fix it and we're getting $600 for storage and they tow the car away to Copart, Now we're left. Now we're maybe planning on that. And I used to get excited every time an insurance car came. I always thought, okay, it's a payday. I'm going to make good money. It's going to feed the shop for a little while, and that's going to lead into another one, another one. But now, I mean, I go to my friend's shops, even like yours. I'm sure when we walk the parking lot, some of the cars that we see here today may be gone when the adjuster comes because, oh, no, costs too much to fix or parts are not
The tow
available.
truck that was outside.
Oh, is that what they get?
That's exactly what
There you
they're
go.
here for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's all this stuff that I don't think the regular people see behind the scenes. Where do you think the industry is going to be in like 5 years? Do you think first? Do you think you'll be in it, and then where do you see the market going?
Fuck, God, no. I hope I'm not in it, but I mean, this is all I know how to do. So I mean, it's the way things are going. I mean, fuck, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I think like all the shops need to, like stick together instead of competing with each other. Where hey, I'll do it for like in California, I'll do it cheaper, and the other person will do it cheaper. Now all of a sudden, a car that got quoted $5,000, somebody, is willing to fix it for $800 in their garage. And that's what people don't understand. Yeah, in their garage, you might be able to do it. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to pay employees. You don't have to pay licensing. You don't have to pay taxes. But when something bad happens, and who's warrantying the work?
Oh yeah, when they hit that speed bump and their front control arm falls off, they found out the guy used a tree to come along to pull the front suspension out. I get it all the time. Like we go to dealers auctions and they got these cars that are just, hate to say it, like hammered dog shit. The core support was smashed in, so they pulled it out so it looks like crinkled tinfoil. And they're like, nothing lines up. Can you put the new radiator in it? And I'm like, nope, that car is just garbage. Get it out of my shop. I don't even want to touch it. And that's what people get. The more they do this stuff, it kills our market because now everyone wants it cheaper, which, some stuff we could do cheaper with technology, but where they're going, I think the market's going to be rough in the next few years. I mean, we don't have enough people. Two, we have people like you and me that are leaving the industry because it's just too much stress and it's a headache. I appreciate you helping me with the G-Wagon. I mean, it's been a nightmare. I explained earlier how it went, but if people want to follow you on like social media and find your business if they need work here in Vegas, or if you want to bring a car here from Cali, he does amazing work, got a bunch of cool cars. But if you want to tell them how they could find you, your business, and all your info.
I think our IG is Exclusive Customs LV. Facebook, I think, is Mike Rocho. But yeah, you can find us online, Exclusive Customs, Las Vegas.
Yeah, and if you need any work, I'll leave links in the description below so you guys can find them. Thank you much for taking the time, and we'll see you guys next time.